Al pie del Ávila majestuoso, a 920 metros sobre el nivel del mar, en un valle de verde geografía que se abre de este a oeste, surge Caracas, la capital de Venezuela.
And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Go get some!
Hey, how's it going? My name is Rafael Chacinas. No es el Capitán Rafucho, and join with Zion Zenith, because right now, welcome back to another episode of the Combat Club. Because if you love violence with rules, strategy, discipline, and respect, you're home. Step into the cage, grab your gloves, and enjoy the war. And make sure to subscribe to Capitán Rafucho and Zion Zenith on YouTube. So right now, it's been a whole weekend of greatness and, of course, shockingness for the UFC 325, which is the main event between Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway for the baddest motherfucking title. And I just wanted to tell you, I just wanted to recap all the action between Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. Right now, we have some breaking news, because right now we got for the main card for the UFC 328 in Newark, New Jersey. And of course, I just wanted to tell you for this right now. So I just wanted to tell you this right here is going to be so much epic that it is going to blow up your mind, ladies and gentlemen. So I cannot believe that it's going to happen. So the main event is going to be between Kazma Chiame versus Sean Strickland. It is not a drill. It is official. And of course, for the co-main event, they have Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. Two amazing events on the work on Newark, New Jersey. So right now, let my co-host Zion Zenith prepare for all these incredible stuffs coming up there right now.
Yeah, great fights just got announced, and upon the arrival of UFC Freedom 250, we seen the trailer for that at UFC 326, and what a
Oh
special
yeah.
nights of fights that is gonna be. I know we're gonna get into that, but we have a court to recap. And UFC 326 had its handful of some good fights, some great fights, some underwhelming fights, but we're gonna break it down for you guys today. So thank you guys so much for joining it. What's up, Michaela? Thank you so much for being here, and let's get it
Absolutely.
going.
All right, so right now we can talk about between Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway because, to be honest, right now, Max Holloway, it looks like Draco Duplessis and Jack Della Maddalena. He was very good enough to descend the soft, and that was very at all because honestly, the first takedown where Charles Oliveira had overhooked to literally just pick out the same game dog was pretty much nuts. Even Christian seeing the difference when they fought the first time, it was like so young, but I thought that's gonna be like a big part of the size difference. Also, there's like a grappling level of difference, but Charles Oliveira big battle several times to get him down. He literally hugged him and piked him for round the one to take it down. You couldn't tell Oliveira they hasted like 10 pounds of Matt's in there. That was like a great performance, but some of the people that they say, oh, that was very warm because they're just hugging. Because if you understand the art of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, that you might know it. And of course, the grappling, wrestling. I mean, he definitely did. I mean, Matt and everyone else, what the baddest motherfucker means because no one to translate to all is better. So he probably thought it's going to be like the belt, but it's absolutely insane because the game of Matt Holloway was volume, distance management, attrition, cardio chain, his flow stayed with a mixed bag. Sometimes it's round number one or picks out for the early rounds. I mean, when Bulk did was playing all the Mets game. They could have been like at a much time without throwing powers into the flow state and slow it down like he did.
Yeah, most definitely. As much as I'm a big Max Holloway fan, I absolutely am a diehard. Been following his whole career, seen his first fight in the octagon. I'm gonna watch his last fight in the octagon. And being that he's Polynesian like myself, I absolutely got love for that cat. With that being said, though, I can't knock what Charles Oliveira's him and his team did. Kind of disappointed in Max. Max should have prepared better. He didn't. I don't think he was prepared for the strength that Oliveira was going to deliver. We seen Oliveira go and take down Ilya, and Ilya flipped it and put Oliveira in a crucifix. When it comes to Max, the round one, take him down, can't get up. Round two, take him down, can't get up. Round three, take him down, and so on and so forth. I can't knock Max Oliveira for coming in with a great game plan and executing that game plan. Like, I get it. Fans are mad. This is for the BMF title, but if you're going to blame someone, blame matchmaking. Don't blame Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira came in and he did what he's supposed to do, win the fight. He's the after goat. He's chasing the title. He's not going to be in there and try to fight with a striker like Max. Yes, was I yelling at my TV and saying, Oliveira, you be, and all of that kind of stuff? Yes, I was. But at the end of the day, I'm going to respect him. I'm not mad that he won. I absolutely am a big fan of Oliveira. I'm just a bigger Max Holloway fan. And to see what he has scheduled in the upcoming fights, we have Ilya, we have Justin Taporia at the White House. Damn near Charles Oliveira's name is in the mix as well. I know we got Armin Sarukian still going to be there. I know Ilya is probably want to move up eventually and take on Islam. But a number one matchmaking in my mind, if I was a matchmaker, I would book Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway International Fight Weekend. I think that's a perfect Conor to the UFC platform. I think Max Holloway didn't take that much damage in this last fight, and I just think that UFC Fight Week they can main event that that card. And I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put my I don't know. I don't have anything. I'm not anybody in the sport of MMA, but I'm gonna just put my word on the line, and I'm gonna say my prediction is a hot take that Max Holloway is gonna fight Conor McGregor, as Conor McGregor is welcome back to the UFC type of fight. I would love it. That would be a fun matchup. And yeah, let's move on to that Corio Barala versus the DeVita fight.
Oh yes, between Caio Borralho versus Renier de Ridier. I mean, I was just like very impressive at all because it seems like between for like grappling and wrestling, but really right there, he fought in slow motion in contrast to Kaio because he was landing them. Because I believe that he look at the father, just give it not much respect, and he loves to get a pull counter. Hopefully, they're gonna teach somehow they actually do it for one more time. And Kaio handicapping himself, not trying to put his hands up because he was worried about like to take down too much. It's not like a good strategy, but a strike clean is not very important because it was very rough. There was so much flailing around that was like very bizarre. I mean, they're acting like he was a Casma when Calio really didn't have the problems on the ground, and he actually ended up with more control. But it's definitely like at the game plan because he was kind of like a mimic Anderson Silva head movement style, perhaps with leg raise, but it was effective. There was like an advantage hands down if you know your opponent isn't going to be able to punish, which is harder to block strikes that swings the hip visually, converts a ton's energy in the arms, and of course, the takedown defense to sprawl is your underhook. I mean, the timing can do like it when you're slow, but look where he won a championship in his 40s, which is Foreman. You can time well enough, you can counter effortlessly and make engagement less desirable.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And before I begin my take, you wanna read Chad's comment?
Oh, yes, it is. All right,
Chad.
salute to Chad Schrader. What's up, Rafael and Zion? Rafael, congrats on the Connor Haywood signing. I miss him on my Steelers. I gotta tell it about this right now. Between for the free agency, it's absolutely madness. So I'm very glad about it.
Absolutely. Free agency has been madness. That's why they call it free agency frenzy. That being said, getting back to MMA, that Bohala versus the Ritter fight, I like the confidence, that cockiness that Carlo bought. Like he knew that the Ritter was not gonna outstrike him. He just had to worry about the takedown, and I'm just gonna drop my hands and I'm just gonna march forward. That's the kind of fights I like to see Bohala be in because he has the skills to make it to the top. Yes, he gets tired. Yes, you should always have your hands up. But we've seen some of the best fighters in this sport fight like that and get away with that. And especially when you're fighting against a guy like D. Ritter that will clearly knock me out on the feet, but I don't fight MMA and I'm not a professional. D. Ritter can't strike when it comes to MMA. His game is the ground game, and Cole knew that. They all knew that. So that being said, one for the fighting nerds. D. Ritter tried to take him down, had a good couple of moments, landed a couple of shots, well, a couple of heavy shots that did count for a bit. But I just like that confidence. So one up for the fighting nerds, and yeah, that was a fun fight to watch.
Oh, yes, that was like a fun. And of course, next up, we got Raul Rosas versus Rob Font because I mean, this gonna be like something very interesting between veteran versus rookie. And I mean, it's absolutely insane for me, and of course for us. And I thought it's gonna be like really happen at all, but we've been seeing like the really before. And I had so much props to Raul Rosas Jr. as good as he is a son, young age, but UFC just keep it like federal matchups against guys who can defend a takedown and it just get it like it deserves one to enter to the top 15. I mean, Fun doesn't even sprawl. I mean, like the stands coming to the stop for the takedowns is predicted how they were the sword to the conservative sprawl. I mean, Fun could have decided if he wanted to sprawl, that it underhood under the hips was effective. He wanted to scramble back to the feet at all. So that was just like a big no. Because he's pushing 40 and somehow beat Alden and Cheeto and agree that it was overrated. But I would just like they just need to hold on to the keep Rosas at the same spot they complain. Instead, he keep it on immediately and take down again. But it took 2 entire rounds and 3 minutes for the crowd to start like, yeah, then it goes to booing. But he has a great base, he's a good athlete. But he has shown out to the last fuse he cannot do damage or be the serious threat on the ground against who's really decent.
Yeah, the mat returns was absolutely ridiculous in this fight. 16 takedowns is absolutely drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. I like Junior, but at the end of the day, want to see him strike more. Want to see him extended fight. Not like he didn't score me a lot of points on DraftKings because he sure did. 144 to be on point. But that being said, though, it was a exciting first round, and then it kind of dragged out. And that being said, I want to see him. Rob Font, don't get me wrong, great fighter. great name to add to your resume. A top veteran in the division, but still. You're gonna now be moving against higher competition that can strike. So it's how is he gonna deal with that? I think he passed this test with flying colors. Like I said, not trying to take anything away from Junior. It's not about the performance; it's just about the win. But at the end of the day, it is entertainment. So people want to see my feet work. Not gonna take anything away from the people that work on the ground. Well, 16 takedowns out of 18. That reminded me of Mawar versus Peter Yan, but that is a number that is significant. 16 takedowns is absolutely amazing. Drew Dober. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, between for the Drew Dober, I mean, holy shit! What can I tell you about the Drew Dober, who became so interesting to beat down against Michael Johnson? That was like the biggest upset at all. I mean, he can get away with this. I was just like, he can still win against anyone. And his chin defense was almost really hard going for that fight right now, because he looked like it a den, because I just really think that Dover just hit Michael Johnson with on the leg, which immediately caused swelling. But I was just like, man, it was just like the nice to see like the upset, but they just can't stay it alive. That was like a fucking shot. Michael Johnson was like the winning until it wasn't, because his game plan wasn't like very effective. But they were always getting the pace up until he knocked out his opponent. But there's no way that a fighter that could everything went. But I was just like, man, I was just like very impressive, because the game plan that he used, Michael Johnson, really doesn't work it at all. I mean, he was very devastated when he came back to the sands, but he always looked at the field great. I mean, with the understanding how much the people hate Dauber, I mean, I know that's very talented, but man, that was like a great upset.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice performance from Drew. I mean, like, you come in, both of these fighters veterans, both of these fighters' resumes speaks volumes. Both of these fighters has multitude of knockouts on their resumes. That being said, to put on a name like Michael Johnson, I get it. He's kind of, I wouldn't even say washed, but he's kind of an old head that a lot of us kind of forget about, but when he fights, he reminds us why he's still in the sport and why he still signs with the UFC. And for Drew Dober to go in there, losing at times, but still get that knockout, still get that punch clean, right on the chin. Absolutely love seeing it. Gregory, though, I think that one was even wilder. You know what I'm saying? To come in on the main card, to open up the main card that way, especially on CBS. They had a couple of fights before that, but with Gregory Rodriguez, I wasn't expecting him to do that, and he did that. So I'm gonna just pass the mic over to you. Great performance by him, and against a game opponent as well.
Yep. That was a great performance, because to be honest, right now, I mean, Bruno is just like sneaky quick, and it has some good shifting punches that made Gregory Rodriguez, which is the Robocop, just stand over here and try to parry showers without moving the head or feet. So Bruno just feinted at that one shot and threw another, and Robocop completely brought it. And he really hurt. I mean, people that was rooting against Robocop because of the pretty late shot, but this could have maybe like they would have stopped it of the fight at that point. But he perfectly timed it. I mean, Ferreira thought that Gregory Rodriguez, which is Robocop, was keep circling to the left. He shifts stands for the southpaw to try to catch Albert the way out. But instead of circling allowed, he decided to plant his feet and blast Ferreira right to the foot landing. He wasn't ready at all. But I was just like, man, this is getting really started at all. I mean, that power is just like really crazy on this first punch. That was really insane. I mean, he's still very good. And a lot of Latin Americans, which is including from Brazil, they know about for the career to get better matchups. I mean, it's gonna be really brutal. But why did it throw many punches with a one punch to trick? I mean, that's really insane. I mean, I know that Bruno Ferreira was stunned and stopped it. The referee was stopping it before with a helpless fighter. You had to love to see that.
Absolutely. And like I said, great performance by Gregory. That 250 got announced. You want to talk about it?
Oh, yes, right.
250.
Oh, yes. Between for like the Freedom 250, which is going to be so much interesting. So right now during the UFC 326, which is between Charles Holloway versus Miles Oliveira, and of course, they just announced it for 6 fights coming up there in Washington, D.C. So first and foremost, they have for the featherweight, Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. On middleweight, Bo Nicole versus Cal DeCose. On lightweight, Mauricio Ruffi versus Michael Chandler. On bantamweight, Sean O'Malley versus Ayman Sahavi. So there is no Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. Sorry. And of course, it's very interesting to see Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gain for the interim heavyweight championship. So there's no Thomas Pinal in here. And of course, for the lightweight championship, they have interim versus current champion, which is Yellow Topuria versus Justin Gage. That was
You
pretty
know,
insane. This gonna be.
yeah, you know what I'm hearing, and you know what has been rumored, what the videos I've been watching, and on X.
Uh-huh.
It was supposed to be main courted John Jones. John Jones was supposed to be the last fight of the walk at Freedom 250, the best fighter that the world has ever seen from America. It was supposed to be John Jones versus Pierre. Pierre was going to move up and try to go for that 3-time. And then the main event, the co-main event, should have been Topuria versus Gaethje. Since the Dana White and I don't know UFC, they probably lowballed the fuck out of John Jones, and he probably that's why he's not on the court, and he's probably wants out of the UFC because that's the only way I can picture this. Because don't get me wrong, I understand that they don't want to wash
Uh-huh.
everything out. I understand that this court is a good court, borderline good. It's a great court. It's a great court. But at the end of the day, all the hype up to it, it was supposed to be like a big time massive event, and I get it, they don't want to wash out all the other events surrounding it, but I honestly think that the UFC was in talks with John Jones fell out of the talks because they tried to lowball him, and I get it, do their things, that's their brand to run. I have no ties to anybody, so I'm gonna still watch the sport because I love this sport and I love the UFC. But I honestly think that's what happened. But get into what we have with Topuria versus Gaethje, Pereira versus Gane, and all the other fighters you mentioned. We could just go down the list as an early preview and just say who do you think we're gonna win. And I'm just gonna say I have both take. I'm just gonna have Garcia beating Lopez. I'm just gonna have a bold take right now, and I'm gonna say Garcia is gonna beat Lopez. I'm gonna have Dawkins. I have Dawkins winning against Nickel. I have Rough Rufy beating Michael Chandler. I have Sean O'Malley beating Zahabi. I have Pierre becoming a 3-time champion, and I have Topuria beating Justin Gaethje. Now, as the fights lead up closer to it, I might keep an eye on Justin Gaethje. I might keep an eye on Zahabi. But at the end of the day, what I feel right now, I just think Topuria is at a whole different level, and I'm happy that he gets his moment to highlight it, and I'm happy that he fights the highlight in Justin Gaethje, America's own. You know what I'm saying? Like what I did there. Go right ahead, Raphael. I want to hear your fast picks. Who do you got? Run it down.
Ooh, I would love to see that about this right now because I know this is gonna be so much important at the White House, but it's gonna be like at the high expectations. But I think it's gonna be like some infinity coming up there. But either why, because I would love to see Alex Pereira could take over for the heavyweight championship because I know that whatever he had to decide it, but I can see like it really ended in all for like domination because I understand between for like the game plan and Alex Pereira is just like very simple, going for the power, the knockout power, and of course the nasty punches he brought it at the end. I was just like, man, this is gonna be really interesting. And of course, it's gonna be like a really difficult to see Ilya Topuria versus Justin Gage because I know Ilya Topuria is very good as a boxer, but Justin Gage, I mean, he brought it at all right now because during for that performance, I mean, there's gonna be it. There's gonna be so much it because they're gonna be absolutely knocking it down because I know it's gonna be like in front of those people, and I understand that Ilya Taporia doesn't think that Justin Gage is gonna be a legend, but he Ilya Taporia is gonna be like a something like good or a bad contender, but it seems like as for the prime, I mean, Justin Gage has been done for any reason at all because I thought that Gage looked slow and over the hill against Patty, but I think the speed definitely will be huge. And there's no doubt that Ilya Topuria has the power to turn the lights on the interesting Justin if he connects because that wouldn't be like the issue because Justin has lost to Madison Charles and nearly beat both easily and never to look at in trouble. But that's why the current stock of the champions will be never to be greater than Jones, Justin Pierre, or Silva because they fought basically whoever they given during the prime rounds because they didn't worry about gaining or losing everything because the old guard is edging it out with the new guard is not getting
Yes.
enough to make the pass of the old guard. So you just left the division has been full of gatekeepers. The only tiny between for like the lightweight is Arman, but he just managed it every way possible because we've been seeing like during for the last fight on High Brazil, which is a submission match, and he wants against Charles Oliveira because I thought that he's going to pull up into the trigger, but the truth is between for like he really, really cared about for the talent, everything, but before I had to do because there are different weight classes. I mean, take it for like the earliest fight that gets offered. Who gets into the fight with another one? Because the division is very competitive, but matches are kind of like still because they have the old guard, but they're Hall of Famers. They're not
Mhm.
quite to the losing. But there hasn't been Oliveira, Gage, and Poirier doing laps in the whole division while all the prospects gained virtually on the ground and low, but Kimberly front rode it. But I know between for the speed and of course the grappling, Justin Gage can't be like one of those baddest motherfuckers who take over the title against Ilya Topuria.
Absolutely. It it is gonna be a fun matchup. New Gord versus Old Gord is a perfect way to put it. And Justin Gaethje
Mhm.
just shown why he's still the real deal. He's still the highlight for a reason. And as much as a lot of people is counting him out, I don't think you should really. I think a lot of people forget how good he is. And there's a thing in MMA that we like to call the MMA triangle. That guy beats that guy, but that guy beats that guy, but that guy beats that guy. If Justin Gaethje somehow beats Ilya, that would definitely be a moment for the all time books, and that would be very very exciting to see. But that being said, I think Ilya is just this next generation, man. They grew up watching all these different skills and they originated their own type of fighting style and they mastered, damn near not mastered, but damn near close to
Mhm.
mastered every aspect of the game. And they're bringing in a more complete fighting style rather than back 20 years ago you could just come in as boxing as your specialist and make it through the ranks a little bit more easier, never ever trying to compare generations. But with this sport developing and all these different things that these young next generation fighters come in with, they are borderline already complete fighters in the aspects of not matured in their fighting ways, but they're coming in with way more talent that they used to in the past. And Ilya ran through the competition, took out legends, left legends in the ring, and now he has another legend to main event on the White House lawn. So that should be a fun fight. Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, that's gonna be like kind of a fun to watch, and of course, between for like all these because in addition because before that because I just wanted to put Yellow Topuria versus Islam Makhachev,
Mhm.
but it was like a potential opponent before the bout with Gage was finalized because according to Ilya Topuria, he selected Makhachev as a preferred opponent in his present terrorist in the movie now for the welterweight title in attempt to become the first ever three division champion in UFC history. But Makhachev informed the officials that injury prevent for him competing. But I know there's gonna be so much like interested at all, but I just wanted to see like it is so much important because if Ilya wins, I mean, that could happen between for Islam Makhachev versus Ilya. I don't know between for like October, November, anything could happen of this right now. But between for like the car for the White House, that could be really important because not only we can see like a lot of Americans coming up there, but also we've been seeing like some of the like Latin American, which is from Brazil, also from well Spain, and of course, well from France, also from well from Canadian, which is I know I understand about it, but there's gonna be so much interesting when it comes to see for the Freedom 250. And this is gonna be like the first time ever on a Sunday.
Yeah, it is gonna be on a Sunday, and that is gonna be exciting. Freedom 250. Let's get into the fights this weekend, man. Who do you got in Josh Emmett versus Kevin? I think as much as I like Josh Emmett, as much as I like seeing him fight, I just think the age has kind of caught up with him, being 41 now. He can still go out there and can deliver a performance, but with this one, I'm gonna have to ride, bro. I'm gonna have to take the youth on this one. I'm gonna have to take Kevin. What's your thoughts on it?
Ooh, that's gonna be so much interesting right now because, well, for this Saturday, right now they have Lilo Topuria versus Vallejos, but I think this is gonna be so much interesting coming up there. But I think between for the speed coming up there, I think it's gonna be so much really important coming up there. Between for like the grappling and striking, I mean, there's gonna be power versus brawling in the barons. So that's gonna be like the battle. Can Josh Emmett find that knockout punch before Vallejo's let his weapon go? Because they don't think there's gonna be women see like the craziest stuff, and I don't think we're gonna see like much wrestling here. But if we do, it might be to come for Josh Emmett in order to slow down Vallecos out to output of the feed, because that's gonna be like a very simplistic fight to talk it about it. Like if you can close your eyes and envision how did it go, the way did it go, because they've been seeing a lot of things before. Because it reminds me of like 3 years ago between Diego Topuria versus Josh Emmett, but it's not that really bad because Vallecas is a few behind Topuria in every degree, because I understand what happens coming up there. But between for like Emmett, he's 41 years old. He's cutting down for 1 4 sets again because this is not gonna championship fight. It is gonna have to fight in front of the quad of 10 people, later the production staff. And I know this been on the UFC for a long time. He fought for the best of the best in that division, and that's what a loss to them. Now, this taken for a younger fight who has only 3 fights in UFC, but it's like a favorite. They're trying to make it sensitive because Vallecos is likely to win this fight, but it seems like a tiny respectful because Emmett, it's not a bad fighter. He has a fantastic right overhand steal, and Vallecos is coming up for a fantastic knockout over Shigatse, and I guess why he's in the main event. Vallecos is a fantastic striker, but is only good for as long as the opponent remains covered it up and not fighting back. It is coming to fight back, and the intrigue is because Vallecos doesn't have a lot of confidence in himself. But I hope he doesn't come very too cocky because I know there's gonna be like it in this one. Because in fact, I sure there's gonna be the theater because I give it to Ahmed, the veteran, the benefit of the down here. But we even see time and time again a next generation fighter to fall veteran because I know this is gonna be like a top tier talent the other generation. So give me Josh Emmett, round number 3 knockout.
See, I like that because you look at the UFC and it's that they kind of push in this new guy, right, on this old aging fighter. But when you look at the resumes, it's like Josh Emmett should he he fought way tougher competition, like you said. So he should go out there and he should get the finish. Does his body hold up being 41? And that's my question. And when you come in with a guy like Kevin, like you said, he has youth on his side and he has powerful and don't chase it because when you don't chase you chase it against a guy like Josh Emmett and you don't exit when you should exit, your ass is gonna be waking up, being like, "What the fuck happened?" You know what I'm saying? So I love that take. I love that you're taking the veteran, and that's absolutely what I love. Let's get it. Amanda Lumos versus Julian Robinson. Who do you got in this one?
Ooh, for Amanda versus Gila Robertson. Now,
Mhm.
this one for the co-main event, I mean, there's gonna be so much interesting because this is where Lemons should shine. But I expect a success for Lemons to be like a short supply after the first round because Lemons had the power and the skill to set to make a difficult one to Robertson. But I mean, this is Gila Robertson fight. We're not gonna see like a lot of stand-up striking here, but between for wrestling and grappling, Robertson rules to remain because she's a league ahead of Lemons here. Even Marissa after that, for the first round that he take down a 10, difficulty stuff and defended by Lemons. They could start to take it a toll of Lemons that he should like Robertson take over. But Robertson might be like the only hope about this week because they're gonna be really excited at all. And it's gonna be something really important, but is one of those fighters. Well, Alama de Lemos, she's one of those fighters who has the skill to be a fantastic fighter, but she don't really use that very well. That is a weird thing. That necessarily how many high caliber fights she's been in, but if you watch her at the fight, she's very quite talented. And Robinson is somebody like historically faded, but now come back to see her as a truly dangerous fighter who has evolved gracefully in such a wild division. Now, because of the strength, because she has very special, but it's absolutely dangerous to anyone and everyone, whether it comes to her clinch and grappling game. She's really fantastic. And I got Jillian Robertson because I had so much favor between for the submission game. Because if she's gonna be really right to get on the ground, uses her suffocating pressure, activity on the ground to find opportunities for a submission or a ground and pound finish. Either way, she needs to get the fight to the ground. And she probably not as good as dangerous as she was because Jayla Robinson is simply to write about the discount. What you expect is typically what you get. She might get in the face of the resistance in the first round. Rest of assured, the second round starts. There's a huge chance to take the solid opponent. So give me Jayla Robinson's submission round number 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. There's a theme going on to this fight night. It's a lot of veterans and a lot of aging fighters versus a lot of fighters that's streaking and a lot of young guys. And when I look at it, Julian Robinson is not a young; she's a veteran, and she is streaking. So that being said, I just think she goes in there and she absolutely dominates Amanda Lamas. Like Raphael laid it out perfectly. There's nothing left to say really. I just kind of feel like Julian Robinson, she has been stepping up. Every time we've seen her, she has been fighting better. She has been putting all her tools in use, and I think do it. Take her down, put together a ground game that you know you can do, and submit this girl and get her out of here fast. I agree.
Yep, exactly what it is. All right, so I know it's gonna be like a really important to see how much what did they go for the fight right now, but right now I just wanted to tell you thank you guys for joining at this episode of the Combat Club. Right now we're getting back for another episode for the next week, and of course we're breaking it down all those fights coming up there for the weekend. And of course, I just wanted to tell you thank you guys for joining. Make sure to subscribe to Capitan Rafucho and my co-host Zion Zenith because we bring
Thank
the
you, guys.
thunder. When it comes to mission martial arts, we can talk real war because this is a podcast built for warriors and fight nerds, event previews, post fight breakdowns, we can fight cards, everything. Because in this club, we're born to fight anyone, anytime, anyone, because this is the Combat Club. So, right now, I just wanted to tell you thank you guys for joining. And of course, see you there at the next episode. Salute to y'all. And of course, salute to everybody else in the comments right now, Chad,
Yes,
Michaela.
sir.
Salute to y'all. And of course, thank you very much. So have a good
Let's
night,
get it.
folks. Let's get it.